Evening everyone, day 19 solution. So today we've obviously been working on a quadrant piece where we design one element and we can mirror, copy or array depending on how you've done it. So what we need to do is we need to obviously break this down and look at the crucial components. So from a center point, which is located down the bottom, obviously we have a crucial range of 90. Okay, and we have a secondary point from that same line which will reference in our center point, which is 50. Other side 45, 5 which will match up then to 50, and then we got some sort of radiuses and then components from sort of center points. And again, we can use different tools. We have radiuses from center, radiuses where we don't know the center, so it's using a bit between the circle tool, arc tool and fillet tool. So okay, so you're just going to load into AutoCAD. Okay, and then we're going to obviously then choose our template and work through that sort of workflow like we would do normally. So the first thing we're going to do is obviously build our baseline. So we're going to build this kind of yellow center line. Okay, so I should choose my template. I don't need my properties box this one. So I'm just going to draw an Xline using my center layer. Okay, so come across the bottom and up the side. And then when I'm in construction, okay, I'm going to again use the same line. I'm going to come out 50 as the first one. And then 90 is the second one, so essentially I'm going to draw my other line at this point. So then we come into offset, 50 and 90, like so, and then we're going to be looking at coming up 45 and then 5, so 45, 5, so again using that escape space tool. Stretch those over. Like so. That's given us from a center point to this point for the R18, from this center point to this point to where we can draw this profile here. Then we got 45 up to draw the flat profile, 5mm. So again, it depends whereabouts you want to start. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start basically working from left to right. So we're going to put in this R35 in first, which is latched onto our center point. So straight into drawing. Okay, circle tool. It's obviously radius of 35. Circle tool, make sure you latch it onto the 0 point first, radius then of 35. That gives us our first point. Second one, we got an R18, and it's on the 50 on the X direction. So that's looking at this part here. Okay, if you're not sure, you might think, oh, actually, is that correct? No harm in running a quick dimension and saying, yeah, that's 50, and we're spot on. So choose my point. Okay, remember, if you haven't got any of your points down here on the snap tool, make sure you've got your points turned on. I just use the same generic 10 normally. I don't really use extension or insertion or nearest because it tends to snap all over the place. I just generally use the same ones each time. So that's those two circles in. Now if we look at the drawing, okay, we only really have this corner curve into a tangent, into another tangent back into the corner. So how we're going to do this is where it kind of gets a bit difficult, because you can't pick up two tangents unless you define a location. So what we're going to do, draw a quadrant onto this tangent. Okay, so that's now latched on. It's the same as what we did last time. Then pick it up on the corner and stretch it to the other tangent like so. So now I've got a tangent to tangent snap, and essentially just trim out everything that we don't need. So that's all internally. Remember to trim off the little edge, and then obviously then it's externally as well, like so. So that just leaves us with that little flick. So we've got that corner curve into the 18, into the dimension length into the R35. So that's that section done. Then we're on to the 90 part. So I'm going to draw a line. Okay, it's just got to be above what we roughly think. So, and then it's going to be putting in the R22. So circle. Remember, this is on the 50 line, not the 45. So it's going to be our top line. So put in the 22. Just pan up so you guys can see. So that's giving us that one there. And then whilst I'm in there, I might as well just do circle. Same center point. If you enter D, it will change it from radius to diameter, and it's a 15 diameter, like so. Okay, and then we can basically draw our line now from the 45. So again, and that's then coming out. So you know it's 5 up and 15 across. So we put another little line in for the offset of 15, like so. Line tool. Oh, that wasn't even on the point, was it? So this way you have to make sure sometimes you are on the right snap point. So that's the 15 line up. So that's essentially this piece rectangled across. And the same again as the bottom, from your point right up to the tangent, like so. Okay, and then it's a case of then just trimming out everything that now we don't need. So trim out that one, and that one. And get rid of that line. So that's giving us our shape, like so. So last thing to do is we've got to put in the R10 and the R3. So again, I'm going to use the Filet tool for this. Radius 10. Remember, if you do multiple, you can put M in before you hit the button, but I'm only doing one. So put in the R10, which is this side, the R3. That's now our kind of component built. So this is where then you would then start to dimension it. So you would then come in and go, okay, so I've got linear center to here is 50, so you might want to say drop it down to 5. There to there, which is 90, and again you want to drop it, keep it 5, keep it nice and consistent. Center point to your top range. So I'm just pressing 5 every time or latching onto a point. Like so. So that's our sort of our key linear dimensions done. Just got to do the 50. So that's the 50 done. So now it's just doing radiuses. So I'm going to do all the radiuses in one go. So I'm not continuously changing my tool. So with the R35 on my drawing, I've got it coming down to the centre, and all I did there was add on basically a dimension line, so you can actually lock onto the back of the dimension and then just draw down to the centre point. It doesn't, for some reason, when it's on an internal radius, it doesn't latch onto the centre point. So it's just one of the things that AutoCAD does. But yeah, if you hit it on the outside, it will snap to the radius, but on the inside it sort of doesn't. So so sometimes you always just draw in that line to make it nice and easy for the for your person doing the actual drawing. R10 doesn't matter because we use the Filet tool. And anyway, you just know it's going to be 10 more from 90, so that's actually sat at X 100, and then obviously you have to work out the height. So then we got a radius on the top. Okay, and we got I think it's now it's a radius down here. And then we have a diameter, which we can also do. Like so. So that's going to the diameter, radius. So that's our section done. So now if we turn off our construction line, okay, we have our little point. And that essentially is what's in the top right hand page on my overall drawing. Now, how would you then incorporate the next part? So what I could do now is mirror all this around, but then I've got two views. And one of the view I need my dimensions and one of the view I don't, so then it becomes quite difficult. So what I like to do, some people may disagree and say all you got to do is just turn the dimensions off on one view and turn them on like another, but when you're using the viewport within a viewport, it doesn't always, it's not that straightforward. So what I'm going to do is offset my center line 75, 75mm down. Okay, and then another 75mm down. So I know I've got a 75mm gap, and then I'm going to start with my shape. What I'm going to do is just turn off my dimensions now. Go into my drawing layer. Okay, I'm going to copy this. So copy it from my center point to my center point, like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my work coordinate system, so WCS, and I'm going to put it to a like universal one or a user one, so it's still not going to unnamed. So I've actually moved my 0, point now. Now I'm going to go to mirror. Okay, I'm going to go from my 0, point because now I've made a new one. Why didn't do that then? 0, like so. Keep the original source. Mirror again from the 0, point. Choose another point on the line, like so. And then that's one way to do that sort of component. Okay, so now we mirrored our component. Okay, that's what our component looks like. So when I turn my dimensions back on, I've got my dimensions up at the top, which is going to be for my view, and I've got my second view down here. Now I'm going to come into my sort of paper space. So when I click now, I can see I can pan up, and I know I've got a view there and a view here. So what I'm going to do is orientate that there. Now you can just see I've got some of my top details, so I kind of need to push it up a bit higher. So I'm going to choose my 1:1 scale. Okay, I could maybe do 1.5 scale. That might be a bit too big. No, that's too big. So I'm going to do 1:1 scale, like so. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slightly move didn't move all of it, did it? So let's go move, just drop it down slightly, like that. That should do. I'm going to return my you can always return your coordinate system back up to the top. Just use UCS and then press World. So let's push that up there, which is fine. And now when I go into my layout, which is interesting, you can actually insert another view, and then it brings you back to the model view. And then you kind of just come and say, just drawing a rectangle just slightly bigger, like so. Enter to confirm. And what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to push it off the side of my piece, and then what I'm going to do is do a move. Make sure you're in the paper space, move, enter, and I'm going to latch that onto that top corner, like that. So that's giving me like a view within a view now, and then all I've got to do is just within my paper space, come into home, text, single line text. I'm just going to put it over here, 2.5, 0, and then I can just sort of drop that. Drop that under. So now when I come to plot, if I go to preview, I've got my scale, okay, and I've got my center points. And then you might want to come in now, do something like, you know, maybe you don't want that center point there anymore, so you can delete that. But you know, the lines do sort of match up, which is nice, and you've got a nice clear view between, and you know you've got 4 points. So now I'll be working on how much annotation that you want to put in. So that's how we achieve a quadrant with an external viewport of all of the information. And likewise, you can also do vice versa. You might want to think, actually, I want that to be my big section, so you can replace that view. So we could actually go in and say, okay, I actually don't want that one, so I'd rather have that one. And this one's going to be 1.5 scale, like so. I can bring that down the bottom, then come back into my paper space, choose this viewport. Can I pan in this one? So you have to make sure you're in the right, because this is more of a viewport. It's like an insert of view rather than a viewport, but so okay, let's just delete that one. And what you can do then is come back to layout. So if you insert like a rectangular viewport, you can just sort of like there and I don't know, there or something. And then you can come in and you can sort of pan around. But if you insert a view, like that one, it's going to be so you could sort of say that one, and you can come in and say, oh, now it's going to be, you know, it's 1 to 2, isn't it? And then you can just double check the annotation, and you come in and go, yeah, it's 1 to 2. So then you could actually have that as like the output. So you know that then your scale is 1.5. So my scale, I've got like a reference, so always update my scale, and then that one's 1 to 2. So now when I go to print or plot, preview, okay, it's vice versa. So sometimes you can use that in industry. You know, I need 4 of them, but these are the major details. It's entirely up to you. So hopefully then you've learned a little bit more. There's also about additional views within the paper space as well. So remember, if you haven't got a template set up, there's other videos that I've linked in the comments and in the description, which will help you build these types of templates as well. So okay, guys. So hopefully that's a good little tip for you guys to know, and see you tomorrow.